It's 100 degrees today. Um, Hi, readers. Welcome back to my channel, Books, Ink, and Paper. I am here to talk to you about fall. I have created as much fall as I can all around me. I am drinking my favorite tea tonight, Twinings Pumpkin Spice Chai, in my new fall mug that I got from Target. I love it so much. I have my fall t-shirt on. I have fall candles burning in my house every day. I have a fall Scentsy scent from my daughter-in-law that I got for my birthday, Amber Hollow, which is no longer available, by the way, but it's delicious. Let's just throw a little in the room again. I have done everything I can do to create the fall mood because honestly, fall and winter are my favorite seasons. My favorite. And I look forward to this all year long. It is the time for leaves falling off the trees and crisp, cool breezes and Halloween. And I just don't feel any of it yet. And all I want to do is throw open the windows and get some fresh air in here. So we'll see. Maybe this will happen. In the meantime, I have created a fall reading list. As I did in summer, I have got a couple of books that I would like to pepper into my October, November, December TBR that are just reminiscent of fall. And some of them are peppered in because I have got to complete some books before the end of the year. And I'm counting this from around now, October 1st, to the winter solstice, so to the shortest day of the year, which is really essentially when winter begins. So that's my sort of fall TBR timeline. This is very ambitious, but also, I'm okay if I don't completely get all of these read, but I would like to make a dent in this, and I'm really going to give it my best effort. So you'll recognize a few of these titles because they are on my top 9 in 2019 reading list, and I'm a little behind on that. So I had to really put them in my fall TBR because it's kind of now or never. If I don't get to them now, I'm probably not going to read them. I added a couple new ones that you will see. And, I could add some others along the way. You just never know. So let's get started. So let's start with the ones that are still on my top 9 in 2019. One of them is The Stand. I have also put that on my October TBR. I really do want to get to it in October because it is Stephen King. It's a little bit of horror, a little bit of apocalyptic, a little bit of, I don't know exactly all what it is, government conspiracy, I think, but yeah, I've been wanting to read it. It's the next in the linear series of when they were published. So I'm ready, and it's one of my top 9 in 2019. So I've talked about it before. I don't know a ton about it. I know it's 1,153 pages, and I think I'm going to buddy read it with my friend Katie, so that will definitely make it easier for me. And I'm going to reach out to her tomorrow and say, okay, let's set some goals, let's set our pace, and let's go. So that's exciting. I think that'll help me get finished with it as soon as I can. The next one on my list, and it should be pretty easy to knock out, is We Were the Lucky Ones by Georgia Hunter. This is another one of my top 9 in 2019. It is a historical fiction novel that follows a family that is displaced by the beginnings of the Nazi takeover in Vienna, I think. No, sorry, Poland. And they all sort of go in different directions. And it's the story of this entire family. This debut novel by Georgia Hunter got great rave reviews, and it was recommended by a bookseller that I purchased books from. So historical fiction, World War II, recommended by a bookseller, went on my list, but I have put it off for some reason, so it's time. And so this one is definitely going to be read this fall. The next one on my top 9 in 2019 list is Jane Unlimited by Kristen Cashore. This is an advanced reader's copy, but it wasn't sent to me originally. I got it at a used bookstore. I think this is a young adult. I've talked about it before. I know that it is, every chapter is written in a different genre. I can listen to this. I have access to the audiobook as well as to the finished copy. Well, this isn't, I don't think, the finished copy, but so it is a story of a girl's adventure in grief, adventure, storytelling, and finding yourself in a world of seemingly infinite choices. Caravelle is another book that's on my fall TBR. I started Caravelle. I started listening to it and reading the ebook a month or so ago, and I wasn't sucked in quite as I anticipated that I would be. So I'm going to give it another shot and see if I can get a little bit farther, and hopefully I will enjoy it. It is a fantasy about two sisters, one of whom writes to a traveling, like, circusy kind of show company and asks for tickets to Caravelle, and she writes again and again and again, and finally they're gifted to her, and they have to leave their little country without telling her dad, who is kind of a tyrant, and they try to make it to Caravelle, and I'm not sure what happens after that. I think one of them is missing, but I'm not certain. But lots of people loved Caravelle. I've heard people don't like the sequels as well, but Caravelle itself got really strong, solid ratings for the first in the series. So again, I'm going to give it a shot and see if I can read it at a time where I am just uninterrupted maybe, and I'm really dedicated to finishing it. And then The Passage by Justin Cronin, another giant novel, but I've already read about a third of it, or maybe slightly more. I would love to be able to finish this before the solstice. It is also a mini series, so I've kind of been putting off looking at that because I wanted to read the book first. I did like it. I read it on a flight to and from Hawaii and really was compelled by it, and then just got back, and sometimes that happens when I travel. I get back, I go back to work, and then I put it down, and then I don't pick it back up. But I'm going to pick it back up, see how I do. I have it on ebook, and I could probably listen to it too. I haven't checked, but I'm sure I could probably find an audio version of it pretty easily. So The Passage is a kind of an apocalyptic sci-fi government conspiracy kind of book as well. So I probably should not read it at the same time I read The Stand. But it is the first in a trilogy, I think. And people tell me they really like it. It's very dense, and there are probably some parts that could be left out, is kind of how I feel. But I mean, it's good. It's well written. It was compelling me to read it at that time. So those are all the ones that are on my top 9 in 2019 that I really got to get to. And then I added two more to this list. And they're both really calling me. So I really felt like, okay, let's add them to the fall TBR. So the first one is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. I got this copy from Book Depository. I have no memory of whether I finished The Handmaid's Tale or didn't. I feel like I did, but again, I'm just not certain. And when the series came out, I did watch season 1, and a lot of it was very familiar, but maybe I didn't finish it. I'm not sure. Anyway, The Testaments is out, which is one of my top want to read by the end of the year as well, although it's not on my list. So I would like to read this first and then kind of see where I am, and then pick up The Testaments, or get it maybe for Christmas and maybe make that my end of the year read. I've heard great buzz about The Testament so far. Many people are happy with it, and I was worried because we all know what happened when the sequel to To Kill a Mockingbird came out. and people were screaming and yelling at Harper Lee and hated Go Set a Watchman. So consequently, I've never read Go Set a Watchman because I have it. I'm just not sure I can stand the disappointment. But anyway, this book follows a girl named Offred, and she is in a whole nother sort of situation in I think it's the United States. No, it's called the Republic of Gilead, so it's a fictional, I guess, representation of what could happen in the United States. And women are now handmaids, and they are either breeders, or they are um, women that care for and cook and clean and take care of all the needs of men. So it's a very misogynistic society, and it's very restrictive, and you can't leave, and you can only do certain things, and you can't look up, and there's just a lot of stuff. And you've probably heard all the buzz, and maybe you've seen the series, so I don't have to really explain all this to you, but really creepy, scary possibilities for women here. But it's a kind of terrifying book. It's kind of a good October read. It is, while it looks pretty small, it's 324 pages. This particular edition is pretty small print. So again, I do have access to this in a number of offerings, including ebook, and so I'll be able to take a look at it in all three ways. And then finally, I love this cover, Belgravia by Julian Fellows. So here's what makes me want to pick this up. I mean, obviously this cover. I got this a few months ago at a church yard sale, and it was $1, and it looks like nobody ever even cracked it open. But Julian Fellows is the guy who created Downton Abbey, which I love. And when I was at the movies watching Downton Abbey, the movie, the trailer for Belgravia came on as a preview for the movie. And I had no idea that they are making this into, I think it's a mini series rather than a film, but don't quote me. It's not coming out in theaters. I think it's coming out, let me just look before I tell you something that's wrong. Okay, it's coming out on Epix. That might be a problem for me because I don't have access to Epix. It's already out in the UK, but apparently I can rent it and watch it on Amazon Prime, so that's good. So it's a period piece. It's 1815, and everyone is gathering at the Duchess of Richmond's ball, and historically something tragic happens there, which is right before the Battle of Waterloo. And so it follows Sophia Trenchard and what happens to them, and what happens in Belgravia, and the story kind of the aftermath of the Battle of Waterloo and what happens to this family. I love Julian Fellows. I've loved Downton Abbey. I can't imagine I won't like this. We shall see. But it feels like a good fall read to me. It just, I don't know. It just feels like something I can get lost in. And I would like to see the series. If any of you know how you can watch Epix on live streaming, I'd love to know, because I have no idea what Epix is. But again, maybe it'll pop up on PBS or some other way for me to take a look. So that is my fall TBR, and I have completed this video right before the sun starts to set, which is much earlier here than normal. Today I really thought I would film a bunch of videos, and what I ended up doing was making scrapbook layouts from our Disney trip, which isn't a bad way to spend the day, but I just did not spend it in the way that I had kind of intended. Creativity has really been calling me. Reading has been calling me. I will say that the change in the shortness of days makes me very off kilter, makes me feel very off kilter. I want to sleep all the time. And I don't think that I'm still sick, and I don't know why I want to sleep all the time, but I do. So I've really been sleeping a lot, And so if I stop and create, I tend to stay awake more than if I stop and read. If I stop and read, I have been falling asleep, and I don't really like that. And if I watch TV and I don't do anything else, I fall asleep. So I've been making a bunch of scrapbook layouts. You should see the mess on my desk. You wouldn't even believe it. But I've prepped 6 layouts and I finished 4 today. So that was pretty good. And I may try to finish another couple tonight. But I just really wanted to come on and film some content and get myself ready for a strong, powerful week of reading and posting and sharing and watching what you're reading in the fall, because people are popping their fall reader TBR and videos and their lists and their recommendations. And so it's just so exciting. So much YouTube content to watch. So I'm probably going to pop YouTube up on my TV. I'm probably going to finish a couple of layouts, put these books away, and get these edited and posted for the week. Thanks for joining me. This was a bit rambly, I guess. I don't know why. I guess I felt like chatting with you tonight. I'm thinking about doing a live stream too. It's really exciting to me to do that. I've watched some people do it, but then my fear is that nobody will show up for the live stream and I'll just be sitting there jabbering to no one. So that would be awful. But I'm thinking about it. So if I do, it'll probably be in October. And there's lots of readathons in October too. So I'll let you know if I decide to participate in at least one of those, which I think I will, which is Spookathon. So I got my little ghosty, witchy earrings in, and I'm ready. Maybe I'll watch a horror movie while I finish my scrapbooking or editing this video. I don't know. I'm ready, ready, ready to welcome fall, bring out my Halloween decor, and read some really scary stuff. So join me. Thanks for joining me tonight. I hope you appreciated this video, even though it's rambly. Let me know what you're reading for the fall, what you like about fall. If it's cold where you are, congratulations. And as always, happy reading. Bye.